Hello, this is Bill Webb, aka Bill Indiana. Today I'm going to do a reboxing for Role Player Adventures. Let's check out how we can store everything that goes inside this massive box. So Role Player Adventures is a Kickstarter, and this is the version that I received. I believe the Kickstarter and retail versions are actually almost identical from what I've researched recently, but there is a ton of material, and it is a massive box. So you can get a sense of how deep this box is here. And I've played it now and gone through the rules and set it all up, and so I want to show you how I've figured out to store the things in this box. I don't know if it's the best solution, but I've just got the rule book here on top, and then our journey log here that's also there on the top. And then I've got the different adventure books, and we've gone through adventure number 1. We're getting ready to do adventure number 2 tonight. So there's adventure 2 and 3, and I just kind of have them nested in sort of alternating fashion to some degree. Now, one thing, there are some maps, and so what I've done is each map is dual-sided, and so we use this side for this side of this map. Down here it says 1, Battle of Black Lake, so we used that map last night, and then now on the other side is Terran's trophy map, and so I've just tucked it into book 2, and so the one for 3 and 4 is tucked in book 3, and so I don't know if that's the best strategy either, but that's what I've been doing, is just putting those maps in the first book, because there's one map for every kind of pair of books, and so then you can see all the different books in terms of the adventures. I put this one on the bottom, this Battle of Black Lake, because that's the one we've already completed. All right, and then we've got our player boards here, so we've got actually inserted for my wife and I, for our characters, to those player boards, the papers that we're filling in with our character details. And then we've got the Tome of Encounters, so this book has a lot of the different adventures that we go on to experience. And this is the Nefras' Judgement expansion book. It's backstories, and so it's an expansion in a sense, but it's backstories for the characters you create. So it's not so much like extra adventures that you would add on once you've completed the other ones. It's different backstories and storylines and adjacent stories that you could talk about and experience while you're going through the other adventures. And then we've got our bag of dice, and then we've got this small container here. A lot of people have commented on how the lid on this one just doesn't want to seem to stay fit. So I'll show you what's in each of these as I rebox it. And then here in the corner, I've just put the little Thunderworks game catalog, the extra pads for our character boards, and then the skill book. And then over here in the corner, I've got some pencils, just threw some mechanical pencils in here so that we can have those ready. We don't have to hunt around the house for them when we're ready to play. And then I've got these backstories are for the Nefras' Judgement, and we didn't use it in the first chapter. We wanted to make sure we knew kind of how to play the game well first, and so this is going to be something we'll investigate tonight. I think we'll start doing the Nefras' Judgement backstories and then just extra backstory pads, but I just have those tucked into the side there. And then we've got 3 different containers down here. This one has the market deck in it, the little 3-dimensional character that you use to track your progress around the track. These colored cubes are for Nefras' Judgement. These are for, I believe, favor tracking on your character board. There's black ones and greens. I think the black ones are for tracking on that character board. That's buried now. I can show it to you when we go back. But there's 3 different tracks on that character board. Now this one I've had to do a little bit of creativity with. This has the rare cards and the trait cards, and the way this lid is bends the cards unless you do something. So I can show you my solution. It's not a pretty solution, but it's working for now. And then the last, we've got this one that has the monsters in it, and it's also got the modifier cards in it, although the modifier cards don't fit real well either. So, all right, so let me show you a little bit about, let me move this for a second and show you a little bit about what's in these and how I've organized it into the trays, in case that's something you're wondering about. So this is the collection of monsters as well as the player reference cards. So I just put the player reference cards on top. The monster cards are numbered 1 through, I think, 61, if I remember right. Yeah. And then there's also this packet that says secret, open only when the instruction book tells you to. So I just put that on the bottom, and those fit nicely right here. right? And I believe that is where they're supposed to go. And I have sleeved everything, so it does fit sleeved. And then over here, I just put the 2 silica gels here in the corner. And then these are the cards that we're working with right now. So my wife chose this as her profile. So she is Newton Puddlewalker, a Frogkin Shaman Dreamweaver, and her cards. And then I chose, let's see, I am a barbarian. I chose this guy for my profile. So Rogish Granu, a Vargar Barbarian Gladiator. And so those are the characters we're playing with. And I think this is where you keep your cards for your characters between games. And now over here is where the modifier deck goes, but I'll show you why I don't think it really fits well here. It's really weird how this is so shallow. So the cards stick up really high, and with sleeves they fit, but it's really snug. And so because they stick up so high, I don't know if you can see that very well from above, but they stick really far out of there. This well should have been much deeper, in my opinion, and maybe just a little longer for the card sleeves to fit a little nicer. But when you try to put this on top, it's really hard to get those in there without smashing them down. And so I don't want to smash them down, and so I just keep them. When we're playing the game, I put them here so they're easy to access. But when I'm storing it, I just put them in this baggie and then put them here. That way I don't damage them. Because this, like I said, this I think is just a little bit of a faux pas in the way it was designed. And then here we've got the market deck, and the market deck covers fine. There's no separators. It's just this big long rectangle, which is great. So I didn't really have to do anything there. I did cut out, when I was popping all the cardboard pieces out, there was this one corner that was just solid, and I cut it into a rectangle and fit it here. And that keeps these cards from, when I put this on without that, sometimes the last card will get bent by this corner. And so this end's pretty fine, but on this end it would sometimes get bent. So I just put that cardboard there. And then here I've got, it says faction, but they're actually supposed to be favor. And then, like I said, these are the alignment tokens that go with the different characters from the Nefras Judgement. And then these are the different class cards. And then one thing that my wife and I were talking about that we want to add is, it's really nice how kind of embossed or engraved into these, it tells what goes here. So the class cards go here. And this you can see it's roomy, it's nice, and it could even be a little bit lower, but it's not too bad. It's better than that other one. So this box actually fits nicely, and I probably don't need this, but just to make sure I don't bend those last couple cards when I close it. Anyway, my wife and I think we're going to use a labeler, and we're going to put some labels on here, because if you look in the bottom here, you can see that down underneath, I don't know if you'll be able to see on the camera or not, but down underneath it says armor. But when the cards are in it, you can't tell that. And so we're always trying to figure out, where's the armor, where's the weapons, where's the traits? And so I think we're going to take a label and just put along the side here. Being engraved in the bottom is fine when you're putting it all in the first time, but after that, it'd be nicer on the side. So I think we're going to use a labeler and do that. So you just do have to be a little bit careful that these class cards don't get bent. And if you put a piece of cardboard or something there, then that will keep that from getting bent. So there's just a couple things where I feel like these trays could have been maybe a little bit better designed, but they do look nice, and they're nice when you're playing. They keep everything organized. Now this is the one that has some bigger problems with the cards. There's a bunch of different decks of cards, but on this lid, it's got these indentations. And when you don't have these dividers in here, so I found some foam board that I had in the garage, and I just cut up these pieces, because if you don't have those in there, then these just end up sometimes going on either side of a card or on the wrong side, and then it bends them over. And so when you try to put the lid on. But if you put something firm like cardboard, or I did just foam board, and I just cut it to be just a little taller than the cards, so that when I put this on, these little hard indentions just kind of force their way between the foam, and therefore it won't bend any of the cards. So that's how I've handled that. And then down here at the end, you've got your, I think these are the round markers for when you're in combat. And same thing here, we're going to label it on the side, because underneath here it says like expansion rare cards and other rare cards, and then there's item cards. That's not what they're called. I forget the exact names, but those are the other cards here. I think it's titles, and I forget the other one. But again, you can't see it once the cards are in it. It's engraved below, but we're going to put little labels along the side. So there's a few things that I've got to do there to kind of overcome so you don't damage the cards. And then this last one, the lid comes off really easy, but everything fits nicely. It's a little strange in the design in that this fits pretty good. You've got the Familiars dice underneath and the Familiars cards right above. perfect fit, sleeves and everything. It's perfectly nice. But then we've got these stamina tokens, or these little stamina things. We've got the 3 value and the 1 value, and if there was just a little divider there, it'd be nicer, because they're like, you can tell which is which, but they just all get all mixed. So if there was a little divider, it'd be, I think, a little nicer. And then over here you've got these ×5 stamina tokens and ×10 stamina tokens, but there's really nowhere to put them, so we've just kind of tucked them in here with the coins, which works fine. But like I said, it seems like a little bit of a missed opportunity. And then these are the bonus play, nice wooden tokens, and they fit nicely there. And then these are from Nefras Judgement. These little book tokens go here. And these are the tokens that are 1 through 10 for the different encounters you might find. And then these are the, I'm not sure exactly what you call them, but they have these little exclamation marks on them. And then there's one that's got this face on it. So we haven't discovered what those are for yet. And then here you just have your rest token, which is a nice wooden piece. So most everything fits pretty nicely. My only thought would be to design it just a little different, so it's clear where these 5 and 10s go, and that maybe a divider here, but not bad. And then this lid, like I said, doesn't really stay on too well, but it works. All right, so the only one that I had a real problem with is this one. It will damage the cards if you aren't really careful, especially with if they're sleeved, because there's not much space between the different categories. Now, if you don't sleeve it, I think you could kind of tilt the holder, and it would probably create enough space that if you're careful, you could put it on. But this solution worked well for me, because the sleeved cards pretty much fit tightly, and they do fit. They don't bend at all because of the sleeves, but it's just these little indentations. So those are a couple of solutions that I've come up with in terms of how and where to put the different materials into their trays. And the trays are nice, especially when you're playing. You can put everything kind of out and handy. Like I said, just a few things design-wise I feel like maybe could have been done a little bit better, but still very beautiful and functional. So back in the box. So I just put one of these here on the side. I think I actually try to put it back in the way I did before. I think I may have had this one on this end. Not that it matters too much. Oh no, I did have this way. Like I said, not that it really matters. Except now I've knocked everything loose here. There we go. Okay, so we'll put that there. And then this one, the market one, actually says Role Player Adventures on top, and you can see this has kind of a curved corner, and these are just all square, and this has kind of a curved corner. So I've put them in this way, and then I slide them all down this way, and put these backstory. So I've got the backstory papers and these backstory cardboard player boards, and I just tuck them right in here in this corner, and it kind of snugs everything up. And then I grab my pencils and I just plop them right there in that nice little groove, and so they don't bounce around or move around much. So that gets that taken care of. And then I put the skill book and the extra papers for the character boards and this catalog, tuck that right in here between these boards, these background boards, and kind of on top of that, and then it makes a nice flat surface. All right, and then I put this on next, and I think you could probably play around to see which way, if it angles a little bit, but it's not bad. And then I put the dice, kind of wrap that up so it fits in right here, and kind of push those down to create a reasonably smooth surface here, a reasonably flat surface here. And then I put the big thick, this one's the real thick book. I put this one down in here first, kind of fits nicely in there. And then I put the other spiral one just nesting the other way, that way. And then I put the character boards right on top there. And then I just start putting in the other chapter adventure books. So I just put this one in first because that's adventure 1 that we've already completed. And then I just kind of put them in backwards from there. So I do the side quests, which we could do anytime, and then the finale. And so I have those going one way, and then I've got like 9 and 10, or yeah, 9 and 10 kind of going that direction. And then 7 and 8 going that direction. And then, let's see, I think I lost 5 here when I was pulling them out. There's 5. And then, yeah, 6 and 5 kind of rotating them that direction. And at this point, it's almost level on these two sides. And so then I kind of start just alternating them a little bit. So I put 4 and 3 going this way, because those will be the ones we'll do soon. And then I put 2 and the journal here, and then just the instructions on top. And that is Role Player Adventures, how I've stored everything in the little containers and how I get it all back in the box, including the Nefras Judgement expansion. Everything fits in nicely. There's no lift. There's even just a little bit of space under the lid, and it works for me. So hopefully that's helpful for you. I know it was a little bit of a puzzle for me to try to figure out how I wanted to store things. I got a few ideas from people on BGG posting suggestions, and then just kind of fit it together. I think the one thing that I would warn you against is the cards in the market deck. Just make sure you come up with some solution. Either if you don't sleeve them, it might not be a problem, but if you sleeve them, come up with some solution so that that lid doesn't bend your cards. So hopefully that's helpful. If it was, I would love it if you'd give that thumbs up down below to show me that you liked the video. And I would love it if you'd subscribe to the channel as well. If you have any other questions about it, or if I went too fast on any section, or you have some suggestions, maybe you see something that I could do better, leave those comments down below. We just played this last night, and our first experience with the game was excellent. We really loved it. So excited to play it again tonight, go through our second adventure. I can see this one probably rising up in the ranks of some of our favorite games by our first experience. So great first impression. And as always, thanks for watching. This is Billy, Indiana, signing off.